Horford, I guess this is an obvious answer, but you're excited to have the big fella back tonight.
I mean, even just looking at the team visually, you're like, okay, well, this is a little different. You go 7'2", 285 pounds, and it's just there's a presence, and this is true. You look forward to having Joel back in this mix.
How does he impact also what you guys are able to do perimeter defense-wise? Obviously not his best.
I mean, there's always a little bit more heat you can put on the perimeter offensive players, more pressure, because you got a 7'2", maybe the league's best rim protector. There's always that, and there's always like fires that he can put out just through sort of random acts of judgment. That oftentimes, like, he's correct on they need my help type stuff. But you go to the offensive side of the ball too. It's like, you know, crunch time looks 100 to 100. What are you going to do? You know, it's beneficial both ways.
Without getting too much into coach speak, because I know you won't. How do you go about, like, what are your points of emphasis in attacking, you know, this defense next week?
The Utah defense? I mean, Quinn is a very good friend of mine. Dennis Lindsey's a very good friend of mine. Joe Ingles I've coached, you know, for a decade plus. I feel like I know them and their system well. It's one that I respect. It's very driven, you know, out of the analytic sort of narrative with such a great rim protector in Rudy Gobert. So you take the notion that, you know, long twos they're going to accept probably more easily. I think that they are tremendous, like chasing people off the three-point line. I believe that we may see some double teams, you know, on Joel or Al and have us prove we can make some threes. Their defense, those, you know, high-level things come to my mind.
Al's obviously had some great games. Is there a balance when it goes back to keeping him as integrated as he has been, or not really?
Ask that question again.
Is keeping him with Joel coming back as integrated offensively? Is there a balance to doing that? Is it?
I'm sorry, like when you say the balance to doing that, what's that mean? What do you mean?
He's obviously been very effective the past couple of games. And he's playing
Al Horford.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Joe obviously hasn't been.
Yep.
And it's different. What
Right.
he's going to do is obviously different. He's playing for positions.
Right. And so it's really, so Al, you're saying Al at a 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Al at a 4 we can use for sure in many of the same ways that we used him as a 5. You know, pick and pop stuff, get him out of nail stuff. I think just the symmetry of growing Al and Joel together is most definitely on my mind. You know, the body of work is tiny right now, but that partnership of big ball and, you know, finding each other in high-low, and they front Al Horford, how do we punish it? And they front Joel, how do we recognize it? That interests me more than anything, is the growth of that sort of relationship.
You guys are tops in the league in offensive rebounding. A lot of people will sort of stay away from that because of what it does in transition. But I think most of your transition defense numbers are pretty good.
Yeah.
You attribute to that success too, and is it maybe a little surprising to them on Burn?
We spent so much time on transition defense in preseason and talked about it. We know that that's where the world begins. If we're going to put our hand up and say we want to be, you know, one of the league's best defensive teams, we better be good at that. And so we drilled that ad nauseum. We show it on film. We talk about it ad nauseum. I think we've really been good in transition defense after our turnovers. You know, and there's a difference between dead ball and live ball turnovers. The live ball are punishing, but we've actually been pretty good on not giving up a bunch of baskets after we have a live ball turnover. Now, to your point about the offensive rebounding and the normal punishment of sending guys to the boards, I think because we have talked so much about transition defense that we're not as punished. We're not punished as much as maybe we would think, because we do send, at times, multiple people to the offensive boards. But I feel like the base of transition defense emphasis and drilling has absorbed mistakes that can be made if we send people to the boards and don't get them.
What does Mike Conley bring to this
another pick and roll guard, another elite scorer, an incredible sort of passer in a pick and roll concept, class, veteran. You know, I think Dennis Lindsay's done a great job of designing this team. I think Quinn's, you know, done an excellent job of coaching the team. And so, like, the spirit, the personalities of, you know, Bogdanovich and Mike Conley and Jeff Green, like, there's some good people that can play that, you know, have a high character program. And I think Mike is as good as there is in that space.